Hi, I'm Janet Deneef, founder and director of the Ubud Writers and Readers Festival. You are about to hear one of our highlight conversations recorded live for our 2022 festival, which explored the role of the written word in upholding humanity's values and freedoms through our festival theme, Mamayu Hayuning Bawana, Uniting Humanity. So please settle in and let the magic of our 19th festival continue.
I offer to you, Meita. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I hope everyone have their coffee. Thank you so much for coming this early in this session, but it's going to be worth it because we have three of the most amazing women from Indonesia. And for Indonesians, these three ladies need no introduction, but for people from abroad, let me introduce these three ladies. But first, let me introduce myself as well. I'm a debut writer. My name is Meita Kasim. And yeah, let's introduce them. So sitting next to me, this lovely young lady, Kamila Andini's first feature-length film, The Mirror Never Lies, was screened at more than 30 festivals globally and received several awards. Her second film, Skala ni Skala, The Seen and Unseen, premiered at the 2017 Toronto International Film Festival. It received the Best Youth Feature Film at the Asia Pacific Film Festival, the Grand Jury Prize at Tokyo Filmex, and several other awards. Her film Uni won the Platform Prize at the 2021 Toronto International Film Festival. Still carrying the theme of patriarchy, her latest film, Before Now and Then, in a bracket, Nana, tells about the condition of Indonesian women in the midst of the political turmoil in 1965. Please give her a round of applause. Isn't she amazing? Huh? Right? And this lady over here really need no introduction for us Indonesians because she's like the mother of feature film.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, right? Yeah. So Nia Dinata is an Indonesian director. Her career started by making music videos and advertisements. In 2000, Nia founded an independent film company called Kalyana Shira Film. She directed the film Arisan in 2004, which exploded all over Indonesia because none of us has ever seen a movie like this. Yeah, so it inspires a lot of young female directors that come after you. And yeah, it won many awards as well, one of which was the best cinema film at the Indonesian Film Festival. And your latest film is going to, or is it already on Netflix?
Already last year.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's the title of the movie is A World Without. Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
And then we have this amazing lady here. Her name is Ika Vantiani. So Ika Vantiani is an artist, curator, and craftswoman based in Jakarta. She studied D3 advertising at the London Institute of Communication in Jakarta, and in her work, Ika explores what it means to be a woman today and how this is intertwined with media and consumption by using the collage technique, which is absolutely amazing. I saw it in the gallery in Jakarta. Is such a different sort of media, and it's really exciting. And we want you to tell us more about it, of course. And this is intertwined with media and consumption. Yes, this is the main theme. And by using collage technique in her work, Ika applies her skills to workshop, installation works, and street art. So she's like the urban legend at the moment in Jakarta. So it's really good to have you here. Okay, without further ado, let's start with the questions. So let's talk about when you begin your careers. And this is for Kamila and Nia, because both of you start from making music videos before you transition as a film director. So can you please tell us about how you transition, because there's a lot of film directors like Guy Ritchie, for example, that starts making music videos and then transition to become a film director. Can you please tell us about this transition?
Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for moderating this amazing discussion. And I would like to also thank the festival, thank Andini and Ika. Ika works with me also, helping abused women. I almost cried every time. I remember Ika helping abused women, doing a collage in the little film festival that we did all together, yeah, the community of women in Jakarta. Anyway, let's start it with a happier mood. So I've been, it's been like almost 3 years. I haven't seen you, I haven't seen her. So it's like, suddenly a reunion.
So, what is the title of the first music video that you made?
It's called Cintakan Membawamu, Dewa 19.
Yeah.
Cintakan Membawamu.
Yeah.
It's like
So
a
Dewa,
rock band,
Dewa 19, for you who don't know, is like one of the biggest
rock band
from
at that
Indonesia.
time, 1994, I guess.
Yeah.
That was 95 or 94. However, I went to film school, but when I graduated and went back to Indonesia, there was no film at that time. I came back 1993, and then the only film I saw, I think the previous year when I was on holiday back to Jakarta, was his father's film, Cinta Dalam Sepotong Roti. And then I was, like in the cinema, only the two of us, like there are only other two people watching that film. And I was like, oh my God, where is this Indonesian audience? Why there were no people watching Indonesian film? And I was inspired by his father's film, because I know I will be back from New York. I don't want to stay in New York, because I know there's somebody who make films, even though only two people, three with me, watching it in the cinema.
So that kind of triggers
Triggers me, because every year I came back, there is no Indonesian film from 1989 to that year.
Wow.
What year was that? Cinta Dalam Sepotong Roti? You remember? It's your dad's film. 1991. So I came back 1991 for a summer holiday, and then I saw that and I said, okay, I want to be back to Indonesia and to just start whatever career I can have in Indonesia, because at the end I really want to make movies for cinema, right? And so that's what I could do at that time. I worked as a journalist in one of the first private television station, and I got banned because,
Oh my God.
I had to edit the piece, the feature piece myself, and then it's never good for my chief at that time. It's like, no, you cannot do that, because he's a very important conglomerate, that you cannot say something like that about him. So it's like edited by the other editor, and I was like, oh, is this a work of journalism or what, And so I just stopped after like 9 months. I couldn't take it anymore. And so I just take whatever job that was there, and music video was a hit at that time.
Yes.
MTV was just
in the 90s period, if you remember.
Early 90s, right?
Music videos.
1993, music video was everywhere. And so I worked as a freelancer in one of a company that makes advertising and music video. So, advertising at that time was only male director, white, from Australia, New Zealand, or England or America. So I was the assistant director of those white males. And, I saw a lot of discrimination, including how the advertising world discriminate not only against women, but also against the Indonesian crew, because we were only assistant at that time, 1993, can you imagine? And it's like so many discriminations, and so I decided, no, okay, I want to quit as well. That's it. After journalism, there's so many discriminations, and I just decided to wait and see and work as a freelancer, you know, because I already have music video with Indonesian music video. Of course, the Indonesian music labels, they couldn't afford the male white director, right? So they said, okay, can I see your concept? So I have to present, and then they like my concept, and then they hired me, you know. It's that's how it was in 1993, 1994.
Oh, how fascinating
Yeah,
is that?
and that just keeps me going, because I felt that film is a craft. If I don't practice it, like being in a set, you know, practice being a leader with the crew and everything, I won't be able to make a big film one day. You know, like it's we need exercise like that. Like during pandemic, I was like, oh, I miss the set, because even I'm old already. It's like I really miss the energy. I really miss being mature. Okay, I miss being in a set, and so I mean that's how it started.
Okay.
It's a long time ago.
Nice one. Kamila, can you tell us how you begin? Because you also start from music videos, briefly.
Yeah, actually it's one of the things that I started, same like Tehnia, but I'm different than Tehnia. Mine was I grew up, as Tehnia also said, that my father is filmmaker. So actually,
for those who don't know, Kamila's father is a very famous Indonesian director named Garin Nugroho.
Yes.
Yeah, and in my family, none took art,
But
so I was the only crazy
But
person.
I know that you didn't want to take that road at the beginning, right?
At the beginning, yes, because since I was a kid.
And you took photography.
Yeah,
Yes?
since I was a kid, it's very obvious first. And then the second thing, I really see, like Tehnia also said and mentioned, that Indonesian cinema has a big break actually, during the 80s and then until the late 90s, yeah. And then my father was one of the only the few that make film at that time. So I really saw his struggle back then. Like how he has to hide films when he wants to screen it, like the whole thing about censorship in New Order and things like that. I remember she has to hide receiving letter from Berlinale that accept his film, and it was very crazy. I'm like, I don't know if I can keep up like him in this kind of industry. But it's true that when I was in high school in late 1990s, Indonesian cinema back to the cinema. One of them is actually Tehnia Films. And then it was the change of digital era as well. So suddenly there's Handycam, and then a lot of young people wanted to make movies as well. And they see movies in the cinema, and it was like a big transformation, a big change. Suddenly, as a student, you have options other than sports or music. You have options to make film, and we have a lot of short film festival back then, Kineforum, Indonesian Short Film Festival, and a lot young people, they want to make short film because of what they're doing, of course, as well. So my friends who wants to make short films, they always come to me because they think I'm the expert, because my father is a filmmaker. So they're like, oh, this is the girl that we have to ask for. And I know nothing, actually, zero. I don't know anything. Like, I don't even know what wardrobe is. I don't know how to make shot by shot. I literally cannot help them at all. So I was embarrassed, actually.
So how did you then
transform?
Yeah.
So I finally think that I'm very embarrassed that this is something that makes my family live. And it's the concern and the struggle that my father has to face. And I know nothing about it. Like, how is it possible? So I start learning about it, actually, at that point, because I really need to pay respect to the medium that actually bring us until now. But when I learn it, I think I just have to menelan ludah sendiri ya kayaknya. So when I learn it, I finally found a medium that I think that I think speaks to my heart, that I feel connected with, that I think it clearly medium to speak what I'm think of. And there are women actually that inspires me as well back then. A lot of actually in Indonesian history of cinema, there always name of women in it. Like even before the Reformation, there is Bu Christine
Ibu
Hakim,
Christine.
who already being a judge in Cannes Film Festival and everywhere, and then produced film as well. Bu Budi,
Eat, Pray, Love.
Eat, Pray, Love.
She
And
played in it.
Yeah,
she plays in it, and then also
Ibu
Teh Nia, Mbak Mira, and then Bashanti. Yeah, it's just a lot of names that I felt like it's possible to make it. But about music video, actually in the beginning, you want to try everything because you don't know who you are yet. You want to find
So
yourself.
music videos is like a rite of passage.
Right of
In a
passage,
way,
in a
yeah,
way,
in a
yes.
way, in a way.
I make documentaries as well. For music video, I made slang music videos.
Oh.
I think I was
Slang is also
Rock band.
a rock
yeah.
band.
So
yeah.
I think I was the only women director who directed their music video.
I think Dewa too. Dewa,
Yeah, yeah.
I was like the first women
Yeah.
director, and then after that, I think they are like, oh, she is so stubborn. No, she kapok. And then Melly Guslo, you know, Melly
Yeah,
is
she's also one of the
very
most prominent
famous,
female singer
but
from
female
Indonesia.
singer, and then
Yeah.
Melly, I did Melly. After Dewa is like, she's so stubborn because in the editing room they said this is no. It should be like this.
Nice one. Okay, let's move to Ika for 1 second. So Ika, you tried so many things in your career. So you start as a creative worker for TV commercials. This is how you start. And then you were also dabbled with photography. And then you dabbled as well with Zine Media. So can you please tell us the transition from that into like a collage artist?
Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much, everyone. Hi, I'm Ika Vantiani. Glad to be here. Okay, actually, when I graduate from London Communication International, I become a PR officer for a year, and then go to advertising agency as a copywriter for 15 years.
Wow.
And then after that, at that time, but already explore other, I wouldn't even say career. It's more like the way I try to find what makes me happy, what is exactly what I want to do in my life, what is exactly Ika Vantiani would like to do, all these explorations. And at the end of 2000, I make a zine. Zine is independent media, do-it-yourself media. The philosophy behind it is everyone is a media and you can be your own media.
Yeah, this is very interesting because this is like a DIY
Medium, yeah.
Right?
So
yes.
in this media, you can be everything. You can be the writer, the editor, the layouter, the distributor, everything. So that's actually the first time I think I found the idea of I can speak up as a person, as a woman. I can put on there my own media. I can share this media to people, to my friends, because at that time I think we all grow up in a thought of, I'm not a journalist, for example. There's no way like this prominent magazine or newspaper will put my article or my curhat personal cerita on their medium, right?
What year is this? What year?
2000. That's the first time I published my first zine called Puncak Muak. There I talk about my parents, I talk about boys in high school, I question a lot of things like punk and queer and consumption. At that time I already work in advertising, so I'm also talk about how this whole, for example, the season of discount and sale did to us and why we kept consuming, for example. So yeah, I think at that time, but then in 2012, I get this offer to work as a principal in a
School,
free
yes.
photography school
yeah.
by Antoni Ismail. Antoni Ismail is one of the prominent commercial photographer in Indonesia. So since 2015, I switched to the art and culture, applying my communication background, and also at the same time being an exhibiting artist, curator, crafter, and also doing other things like teaching and a lot of other stuff. Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you.
All right, let's get back to the theme of this session. that is in the Ubud Writers Readers Festival website is how female directors negotiate the demands of mainstream media without compromising the depth of their characters and themes. This is really interesting. Maybe I start with Mbak Nia. A World Without is just released on Netflix, and please tell us about the theme of the movie and how you handle your experience in order to find that balance between mainstream demands and the messages that you want to put.
Well, actually, A World Without was written before the pandemic, like in 2018. I saw this movement in Indonesia. It's called A World Without Dating. Oh, Indonesia Without Dating. Indonesia Tanpa Pacaran, with that hashtag. And actually my son told me that. You know, like Ibu, my son was in college already at that time in the United States, and then he came back for a holiday, and then he said to me, my friend just joined this. What is happening to Indonesia? Why people don't want dating? They just want to get married immediately. And he was only 19 at that time, my son. And I was like, what is this? And then I researched that hashtag in Instagram, and there's already 300,000 followers of that hashtag. So I was like shocked. Tahu dong Ika ya, Indonesia tanpa pacaran. Ika knows very well. So unik kan Indonesia tanpa pacaran, because they already wanna just go immediately into marriage, and they feel like they are so fearful of sin, like any exploration of your body, any exploration of, knowing your partner is a sin. So it's like, you better get married. And then I was trying to make a documentary about that, because I follow their gatherings and everything. And then me and my research team want to go there, and then suddenly my research team say, no, you don't go there, because you're mature. You cannot be disguised as a young people who wanna find a husband, right? And then I sent my gay assistant, and then very young looking, and I put him in a very Islamic clothing.
Oh my God.
And then I sent him, and then I just wait in the car, like, so long, but far away from the gathering in Bekasi, in the suburb of Jakarta. And then suddenly he came in after 2 hours, and he's like, it's impossible. It's like, I cannot stand it. It's impossible to make a documentary like this. And then we discussed, and endless discussion. And I said, oh, yeah, it's impossible, because even him was being torture, like what is your purpose? Is there any female you like? Because it's men here, female here, and then you can find your match. And I was like, okay, let's just make a fiction. Because it's stranger than fiction.
Yes.
Indonesia is like this, like we are the representative of Indonesian women, ladies. I have to tell you, because my grandparents, my grandmothers, they all dress like me, like in kebaya, like this, and it's just Indonesian. This is how Indonesian dress. From Sumatra, from Java, from Sundanese, it's all like this,
Janet the Nef.
Yeah, Janet the Nef. But anyway, and I just want to make it a fiction.
Yeah.
And when and then Netflix invited during pandemic, the first session of pandemic, I was invited by Netflix via Zoom to have like a pitch, like a pitching. What is your passion project? What is it that you're doing right now? And then I pitched that. Of course, they said, oh my God, it's dangerous, because Islam is 90% of the people in your country. We are just entering Indonesia, and we don't want to be banned in Indonesia, Nia. And so I was like, okay. And that's my first
concern.
film.
Yeah.
No, A World Without is my first film that I have to follow, or not follow, but I have to discuss my stories, my storyline, everything with the Americans, like they already have their standards, like very mass standards. And I was like, oh my God, it's like this. Because before that, like Andini, we just make films of what we like, right?
Yeah.
And then we independently fund the film. Here is like, okay, we have this much money. We love your idea, but make it more safe for us.
So how do you
And then the pandemic, I thought it's just 6 months.
how do you balance
No,
that
I
fact with
thought-
the messages that
I
you
didn't
want
know
to?
at that time. I was like, oh my God, how?
Yeah.
And then I thought the pandemic was just 3 to 6 months and I can discuss with them, meet with them in Singapore. But the pandemic's continued, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't meet. And I was thinking, okay, let's make it in the future. So World Without is dystopian about the near future, 2030. And so I pitch again. Okay, it's a dystopian. Okay, if it's a dystopian, you don't mention that it's Indonesia. Of course, everybody know it's Indonesia because it's with Indonesian actors speaking Indonesian. But
Oh my God.
yes. So in the beginning, you should say. I mean, you should have like introduction that it's, year 2030. Okay, I can do that. And I want to make it a pesantren because what happened, according to my assistant, at that time, I waited, right? Like a kilo away in my car. It's like a pesantren, but it's not. It's like there's this leader who have this Instagram throwing this idea of sin, and then people just meet. It's crazy, yeah. I mean, when we do a research, I mean, maybe the three of us did too many research, but we like, where is this? Is this our country? Have you ever felt like that? Like, is this Indonesia? Huh? I didn't grow up like this, And so it's like, and then they said it shouldn't be a pesantren. You can make a dormitory, whatever, but don't mention religion. Okay, and then, because of pandemic again, I had to stay at home and just think about it. And so I made it like, just like a cult.
But are you satisfied with the?
Yes.
Yeah?
I think
Do you think your message is?
Yes, I think
there
so. I think
and
so.
will come across.
Yes, I
Nice
think so
one,
because, of course, a lot of people hated it because they said, "Oh, Nia Dinata from the year 2000 cabaukan arisan berbagi suami always talk about gender and women." I mean, yeah, my publicist told me I never read anything.
Yeah.
They always say, I think you should do something different. You always do women, LGBT, young women. They're like, oh, she doesn't have any more IDs. I don't care. I mean, let's just keep it that way. But
Yes!
anyway, that's what I love. But to certain people, they were saying, oh my God, this reminds me of my years in pesantren. So they get it. It's actually a pesantren. Yay! So, I mean, it's I think I love the process and everything, and I think I can actually work with someone, with
you.
someone with a, like a massive company, like a super body of multinational company, giant, as long as, I can keep my character intact, my characters in the film, and I can grow to be somebody who knows their concern as well. Maybe 10 years back, I would say, no, bye. I wanted to be a pesantren. I wanted to be an Islamic pesantren boarding
So you
school.
are less idealistic.
No, I can, as a mother of almost 53 years old a woman, I think we need to communicate. The world needs a better communicator. If we are too polarized, like no, yes, there is no communicator, I think the message wouldn't be understood.
Okay.
We need understanding, so
All
it's
right.
just a form of understanding, and I know it will be there, and then we can watch it in 2030, because it's in 8 years, right?
Yeah.
And we can see whether women issues are still pressing or not, are still worrying or not.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Now we move to Kamila, and your movie, the latest movie is the Now and Then.
Before now.
Before Now and Then, that won Silver Bear Awards at Berlinale International Film Festival. So I have same questions. Tell us what the theme and the hurdles that you experience in order to find that balance between mainstream media and the messages that you want to put out there.
Yeah. Well, for me, maybe I have to go back a little bit. I mean, like what compromise that you have to do. Since the beginning I want no compromise. So
Of course.
but it was quite challenging because I didn't feel safe in the very beginning of my career. I mean, I used to be also assistant director. A lot of people I really felt that hire me just to have like something nice to look at in among the group, like to have a woman. So
Yeah,
they're
pretty,
not all
pretty.
pretty.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
everything is male, so they have something. Yeah. So it's just to have me to just have a quota or something like that. And then also it was quite challenging because there are certain stereotypes about being a director as well, being a leader. Like you have to be strong, and then it's very hard to work with women because they're very complicated, emotional, and things like that. Like, oh, you have to be very strong. You have to communicate very
But
well.
that's a myth, isn't it? Men, I found them even more emotional.
the
Sorry.
myth about strength. The myth about strength.
Yes,
right?
exactly. It's a myth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not like that. I'm a very baby,
It's
and I'm
okay.
very vulnerable.
Crying is strength.
Emotional is
yeah.
passion.
Passion.
So in the beginning, I started with building my own support system. Someone who trusts me the way who I am. Someone who accept me of what it is, and they trust my vision of filmmaking. So I work with them who actually believe in me. So there are several DPs at that time that like, why you don't want to work with me? Oh, I said like, oh, what if I have to cry? Because like I don't want to cry. I mean, I'm scared of you. I have to be honest. Like, so I want to work with someone that I'm not scared with. So I'm building myself, surround myself with people that believe in me, and I feel safe. And I always have a concern with how many women in my team and also men. So it helps me to create the environment in the shooting location as well, and everything, because this is what I want to say as well about women. After making several movies, the trust building up. So people already know. In the beginning, people don't know what your vision is as a director. People are still like looking for, okay, I want to see where she's going. But after a while, people already know that this is what I want to do. This is my style. This is my vision in directing. When it's already there, it's easier.
So
for
you
me.
create your own team.
It's easier for
Yes,
me
yeah.
to bargain, to give what I want to make. If you don't
mhm.
like it, it's okay. Like even for commercial works, I usually when they give me story, I will make, even though I haven't hired yet, some what I want to make, and then I propose to them like, this is, if the story goes to me, it will be like this. It's okay if you're not agree. It's totally fine. People have their own choices and rights. But if if you like it, then we can work together. So some of them, of course, feel that it's not their vision. Some of them like it. I will work with the one who like it and believe in me.
How do you balance that messages that you want to put with censorship or all that? Yeah.
I don't. I mean, like for example, Uni. Uni was the most sensitive one. I mean, when I make Uni, in the beginning, I told my producer that I want to be as open as possible. I don't want to hide anything. I want it to be as blunt as it is, and I want to portray reality. It's gonna be hard for us. So you have to find partners that also believe in it,
Yeah.
that also speaks the same way. So we cannot just have any other partner, like any kind of partner. So we have to really choose. And every time we met someone, like the fundings, the investors, even team, and also cast, we also say that it's gonna be very sensitive. Are you up to it? Are you
And
okay with it?
this is your way to find the right people to support your
Yes.
projects and ultimately to get your message across.
Yes.
Thank you, Kamila. That's great. Now we move to Ika. Ika, you present your messages through mainly nowadays through collage art, right? And how do you navigate the mainstream demand and also have your messages across? Well, maybe the question is not really accurate, but maybe you can put your
Okay.
2 cents here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think at the beginning I even make zine because it's an antithesis from mainstream media. So it started as a counter from the narration that we have in the mainstream media.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I think one of the biggest challenge, I think now being an artist and creative worker in Indonesia, is actually dealing with censorship, dealing with netizen. We can have something called netizen, internet citizens. We dealing with a lot of law by the government now, where we could prosecute us anytime they want. I think the biggest challenge now we all experience as an artist, creative worker, is actually how to navigate our work
Yeah.
so that we can still be able to make honest work, but also have to be really careful, like Kamila said, that we're not going to want to compromise that much because we believe in what we are doing and we believe that the message that we are conveying is actually the truth as it is. I've been also experienced due to some of my works to have internet troll. Once I also has to keep my account in private for a couple of weeks. The way I'm dealing with all the effort to make me feel bad towards my own work. I've tried several method and strategy. For example, if I'm talking about queer theme or LGBTQI theme in my work, I'm going to be very careful in the perspective that I'm sharing my work. I used to just only make the post in English, not in Bahasa Indonesia, if I'm talking about queer people and my stand as an ally. I also
Because a lot of Indonesian don't know how to read English or speak English, so
Even
this is
if-
a
This is
safe
the
way.
troll, yeah.
the
Somehow.
troll
Indonesian
actually,
troll.
yeah,
Indonesian
Indonesian troll is
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah,
yeah,
please,
exactly.
yeah,
The way
go
they
on.
quickly detect us, right?
Yeah.
Through hashtags,
Hashtags.
through keywords.
Yes, and hashtagnya Indonesian, right?
Exactly. That's why it's actually how then I'm trying to navigate that through creating new hashtags that belongs to me, so people know that. Let's say I'm talking about queer, I'm creating my own hashtag that people will automatically get it. It's about queer people, but it's not this common hashtag
yes.
that those people know. For example, I'm trying to put everything as honest as possible, but not blaming anybody, not criticizing anyone. I'm just pretty much showing my experiences, my perspective. I'm very careful in responding to any questions and feedbacks. I have to make sure that the person that send me questions, for example, or make a comments is actually worth my time
Yes.
to actually, are we going to have a good discussion and a fulfilling discussion, or it's just merely just to make me feel bad,
Yeah.
or it's just as simple as I want you
Trollers,
to
yeah.
exactly, I want you to feel guilty, for example. I want you to know that you're doing this something that
The
really
internet
against their
police,
principle,
yeah,
for example.
yeah.
So I've been now learning a lot of that strategy and that mechanism, how to still be able to work with what I'm working on, the message that I'm so into. And also I'm totally aware also the perspective of a religious perspective that often come to us and question us using that perspective. But I tend to avoid that, and I try to not get involved myself to that conversation, especially if we talk about religion and God and
So
everything.
it involves a lot of self-restraint.
True.
Yeah.
And at the same time, also involve a lot of learning and also finding the right strategy and talk about with some of my friends who also experience the same thing as I am. We also trying to create a support system, and so that we can let's say there's something happened, we can share about this case, for example, and how we're going to navigate this. I think that's now one of the biggest challenge. At the same time, unconsciously now, I think I become having this really bad self censorship. That's really tricky and that's very scary. But I think that's how they're doing it. Then we tend to be then very scared, conscious and unconsciously. We suddenly, in a way, like rethink and think again. If you want to post something, you want to make this work, or if you want to display our work somewhere in a public area, there's become like so many things we have to calculate, we have to anticipate, we have to make sure that this will not trigger some people or this will not bring us trouble. I think that's also one of the things that I know very much, that in the 90s we have that, but not as severe as today. So I think that we just happen to have to be able to find a new strategy, a new system, support system, how to do that.
We talked earlier about the messages that you want to put out there, and I got fascinated a bit with what you said, that your main message here is that to be a woman, you don't have to follow a certain path that the social society have put on you.
Social norms.
Yeah, you don't have to get married, for example. You don't have to be pretty. You don't have to be this and that and this and that. Can you please tell us more about this?
Okay,
Yeah.
a couple of years ago during Women's March, I have this hashtag called perempuan menolak penyeragaman. Women object gimana ya?
The stereotyping.
The
Yes.
stereotyping.
Yeah.
At that time, the way I dressed during the Women's March is I literally clashing between this masculine and feminine look, and everyone's like, "Is that you?" That's very intense.
So androgyny. Yeah.
And I think it's interesting now. I feel like every day that as a woman we're being uniform in whatever, the way we dress, the way we walk, the way we eat, the way we choose our spouse, the way we put our hair. It's become just now I'm completely often find myself the only person who is not like that in a crowd, in a public transportation. Of course, that's really scary. But at the same time, I think that what I'm trying to do also to say that you do not have to be like that. You do not have as a woman to be like the other 10 women around you that look exactly the same, that decide to, I have to get married, I have to have a house, or I have to have a spouse. I think we as a woman is
and she's the pioneer
as
of
a
this
whole
awareness.
I think we all grew up as a woman that, for example, if you as a woman you need a man. No, as a
No.
women we are whole with or without a spouse. The way we value ourselves is actually it's supposed to be that way. I think one of the biggest challenge in Indonesia also now as a woman is to grow and to explore the choices in life and the space to grow and to explore the safe space. That's what we do not have. So we tend to just get the closest or easiest choices offered to us rather than creating new choices of our own and to find what is exactly as a woman I like. And I think that to be the best version of ourselves as a woman is a
Amazing.
day-to-day challenge.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. Now I want to go back to Mbak Nia. What if we listen to Ika just now, right? And her main focus on her messages is how to be a woman of yourself, right? And how about you? If you can just choose one hashtag that embodied all your vision and mission and messages to the society, what would it be? Your core.
I
You
think I really want to have some. I don't know hashtag. I mean, I'm very bad at social media. Come on, don't ask me about hashtag because it's my small independent team who always do that. And I was like, okay, netizens like this, like that. I am totally, like
Yeah, but
illiterate, social media
aside from the
illiterate. Okay,
hashtag,
but
yeah.
I believe that all humans are equal. Human, right? Regardless of their sexual preference, dress preference, everything. And
Gender, no.
gender, whatever. And I just want to tell you also that I think for the past 4 years, like 2 years before pandemics, I think this is the only panel in Indonesia when they talk about women that I am not the only one who wears hijab. For the past 4 to 5 years, every panel, if it's in Indonesia, I am the only one. I am like the not stereotype, It's like, oh, okay, I'm not wear, like the rest of the speakers, they all wear hijab. So there has been so many layers in our fight towards equality, and I can totally understand if you choose to wear hijab, yeah. But I don't see any choices anymore. That's why I love the way she dressed. It's so creative. And I mean, women doesn't have to be pretty. I don't think so. Women have to create their own, meaning of being pretty. Because I think Ika is very pretty.
Yes.
With her style. And I mean, I can never pull it off. She pulled it off very well.
Yeah, she found her individuality.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think we all have to redefine everything and deconstruct all the patriarchal ideas or rules and everything. I think that's my message, but it's long. I cannot. I have a very long attention span. I cannot make short Instagram wordings because I love to talk, and then my publicist always say, "Can you just make it short?" No, this is what I want to do. And talking about censorship, it's crazy because even like I can no longer make Chong, the web series Chong. Okay, I can say Chong here. I produced Chong, a web series in 2017. Paul, there is Daud. For Lucky Kuswandi, an amazing gay Indonesian director. So I produced it with foreign money, of course, from fundings. And then suddenly, there is this news, right, in the media saying that Nia Dinata, crazy, blah, blah, blah. And then one of the legislative member, they talk about it, and I had to pull it off YouTube because it's the beginning of YouTube. So I was like, and then suddenly the Indonesian CIA called me. Like I had to meet with them for almost a year in 2000.
Oh my God.
Sandy was there, my sister. And I was like, okay, Pak. Yeah, it's a totally, we can talk about it in a totally different panel. And then the funding said to me, we can still give you funding, but can you talk about the environment instead? And I said, I loved it. I mean, I've been practicing green living before you all talk about green living because my husband is a passionate gardener. I eat what I plant in my house. But it's not my passion. It's my lifestyle, but it's not my passion. So I don't get the funding anymore. Because, I mean, even the funding body was called by the Indonesian CIA, by BIN.
My
God.
God.
I don't know if there's BIN here. Hi. But, I was like, if I have to change whatever passion I want to put in my producing project, I'd rather not doing it. Like Dini, if somebody has to say, you should do this, you should do that, but, without considering our true soul, I don't want to do it.
Yes.
I mean, still, even in my old days, I want to communicate, but what I want to communicate is my values, my belief that humans have to be treated equally.
How inspiring is this?
So
amazing.
It's like that.
Yeah. Now let's move to you. Same questions, of course.
Okay.
Well, what is the closest to your heart?
Yeah.
The mission. Yeah.
I think it's almost similar. This is also what I've been doing in my films as well, representing women in the cinema. In the beginning, I questioned like what kind of woman that I want to put in my cinema. I felt like when you have a character in.
Let me stop you there because it's gonna be a lot more interesting, I think, if we just talk about Uni, because this is a girl that is being proposed by men 3 times.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I felt.
And this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like if you wanna have a heroine in the cinema, and then she has to look cool and masculine in a way. She has to be strong, and I felt like it's not representing me as a woman. So I wanna see them the way they are within their vulnerability and also their strength. That's why I create Uni, who's a teenager, who's also. she vulnerable and confused because she needs time to explore herself. She needs time to make a choices, and that's actually the right time to do that. And yet, in their age, in that society, they have to decide.
So she came from a lower
Society.
Yeah.
In Serang, and she's getting the mother is actually working in Jakarta, and she has this proportion from men.
Three different men. Yeah.
That the society was very confused every time she reject, because why do you have to reject marriage? Because in this kind of society, marriage has become solution for everything, especially for their life. So a lot of young women has to get married, like to decide if whether they want to get married or not in that age, where it's actually the age like you don't know yourself yet. I mean, I was a teenager once, and was confused. I was so many.
And you also spoke about the value of virginity.
Yeah.
Right.
Because one of the proportion asked if she is still a virgin or not, and he want to give more money, actually, not money,
Dowry.
dowry,
Like a dowry.
if she is
Still virgin. Yeah.
And then this is also I want to say about there is no relation of virginity and marriage. It's two different things, and it's still very related to our society and tradition in a way. So
let's get back to your message.
The mess for me, what I always do in my film, the hashtag would be perempuan apa adanya. I want them to
Bagus ya. Perempuan apa adanya.
Perempuan apa adanya is women the way she is.
Perempuan apa adanya.
Yeah.
It's very awesome.
And
Just the way
can
you
you
are. Just
elaborate a little bit with
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wanna see them the way
They are.
Uni as she is,
Yeah.
Nana as she is.
Yeah,
They
the
have
way
their
they
own
are.
struggle. They have their own character, complexity, emotions, and they deal things differently. They dress differently, and it's okay.
Nice one. Okay, I bet you can't wait to ask your own personal questions to our amazing ladies. So let's open the the Q&A microphone. Please tell us your name and where you're from, and fire up. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Jonathan from Surabaya. My question is about censorship. As an artist, I'm also struggle a lot with censorship, because like I do a lot of theme about religion and sexuality, eroticism, and then I always have this kind of paranoia that someday someone will rush me and bring me somewhere, because my work is not in line with the adat ketimuran things. And then what we can do about that as an artist? I mean, can we like
Who is this question for?
for everyone?
Everyone.
Because
okay.
everybody is dealing with censorship, right? Yeah. So what we can do as an artist to make Indonesia become a country that is more easy to speak what in our mind, to do what we love, to be more free in speech and in expression. Thank you. Maybe we can do demonstration and then put it in the law or something, make it a bill or anything. Thank you.
Yeah, Kamila, maybe you want to take this one?
I think about censorship, I also feel what you feel. I think every one of us. And the trickiest part is not only the law, that up until now, as an Indonesian, you have your own censorship within yourself, in every one of us. Because it's already something that built throughout the system and the history for a long time. So maybe you can change the law, but you cannot change the way people see things, and it's already built. So that was actually the most trickiest part. And yes, you are scared to it, but I think you have to try it. I tried several things actually. There are things that I don't care. I just want to do it and I want to see and I want to experience, because experience is very important as well. The second thing is I like what Ika also mentioned, that you have to understand every perspective. Like you have to acknowledge that when you make it, you realize that there will be a perspective of this, what they actually see, what the law, and then the all the aspect and the factors of what you're going to say. There are two ways you're going to make a strategy about it. Like you play along in a smart way, so and you have your support system and you have your own system how to deal with it. So you think about it in the beginning, or you experience, you want to see and then you want to make point about it, but you have to be very careful and very yeah.
Thank you. And Mbak Nia,
But I
maybe
think,
you want to
one
put your
more
2
thing,
cents? Yeah.
Exactly, you have to try it, but also you have to find your support system.
Yeah.
Support system is very important because every one of us build our own support system, and then people we can trust, platform you can trust, gallery you can trust when you want to display your artwork, and but please don't stop yourself from
Find your community.
Yes.
Yeah. And Ika, maybe you want to put your 2 cents?
Okay, I assume that you're a visual artist. Okay, I understand that we are facing a lot of censorship in the way that we present our visual art, but at the same time, I would like also to remind you that we have even Instagram guidelines.
Yes.
Instagram most of the time, of course, will censor us, right?
Yes.
Without whatever happened in this country, those platforms already have their own like rules of censorship that we have to also deal with. So I think that the way I used to the way I used to try to exchange strategy with my other artists is actually either you select very well the place where you share your work. That's one thing of doing it. And at the same time, like Tehnia tadi juga bilang, we create a support system, but that also includes empowering ourselves to know the law, to know how to deal with the law, either whether we like it or not, because now we're go hand in hand and without a big risk, whether we like it or not, we have to know how, if shit happens, we have to know whom to talk to, how to talk directly to the person that, accused us or persecuted us. So I think we cannot only see it from, I want to work, I want to show my work, and I hate the idea of somebody will censor my work. It's not that simple. It's never been that simple either. I think there's a lot of dimensions and there's a lot of effort and there's a lot of strategy that how we could navigate that. But I think at the same time, we have to keep empowering ourselves to deal with it, like more confidence and
one day at a time.
Exactly, and stronger. And by the time we then, like Dini said, that then
Never
we will
give
keep
up.
having the bravery and the courage to
Yeah.
keep doing that and showing our work. See, thank you.
Okay, so we don't have time. No, really?
Gak apa-apa, one girl.
One more question maybe from the
Ini yang tadi di
audience?
depan
No?
udah di ini loh.
No? Oh, one more, please. Please.
She already raised her hand.
Please. No.
We'll
Okay,
answer
I think
short.
I will
short.
make it quick.
Yes.
Tying into the support system, I think currently there's a block in like Indonesian mainstream cinema. So like, what is your tips for new film writers who might be struggling in finding support system because they don't know anyone but they want their voices to be heard? So yeah, what's your tips for that?
Well, I think DM us in Instagram. I have a Kaleneshira Foundation, a film foundation who can answer everything from producing, from sexual harassment on the set, from making a very safe contract agreement for a new artist or old artist who want to work with a new producer or a mainstream film studio, stuff like that. It's very simple. Communications these days are open wide. It can be as simple as DMing me.
Hey!
You know?
There you go!
Other than that, I also agree that it's very simple communication. Where do you base?
Surabaya. Yeah,
Ah,
yes,
okay.
yes.
So, like I believe that there will be people same like you actually
Yes.
in the, and every area they have their film community. So yeah, reach them and
Yeah,
also
do your
build,
research and ask around.
yeah, I think connecting with the people that you think also have the same vision, one by one thing at a time, it will
Attending
let-
events like this
yeah,
together,
yeah,
and
Ika,
then
you
meet
wanna
us.
put your 2 cents
you
as
know.
well?
Well, every time, maybe let's say it's about like being a young artist and you start your career, and how when you develop your own friends and community and support system is actually by attending shows, talk to your artists that you found very inspiring, or you just open a conversation with them, literally build from scratch this whole support system and communicate. Now is like, although of course, let's say you say you're in Surabaya and you want to talk to this maybe artist in Jakarta, for example. I think now it's very possible to even like collaborate, making work together, exchanging experiences. So I think that is the most now important things to start with. Just network and just communicate with as many people that as possible to create the community.
Thank you.
All right, and that's the end of the session. Sorry, we have limited time. It's been great, isn't it? And if you have more questions, maybe you can just come to her and her and her. And thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for all the
Vania.
speakers for
thank
your
you,
time.
Kamila.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ika. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much for all the speakers for your time, and thank you for Meita for moderating this session. Ladies and gentlemen, it brings us to the end of this session.